Welcome back, folks. It is late November. It's 29 degrees, 30 degrees. We're gonna do some late fall at this point, tent camping. What's that? Something actually scared me. I think we're all right though. I got a big backpack. It's been a while since I've done a hot tent, so I'm a little rusty. So I'm gonna kind of try to walk you guys through how it works, show you how to set it up. I'll kind of go through everything. It won't be a full tutorial, but for those interested in getting into hot tenting, stay tuned. I am recovering from a cold, or I shouldn't say the cold. It was more like a full-blown flu. I was pretty sick, and I still have some breathing problems from it. So this was a really heavy backpack. I have a little bit of hot tenting experience by this point, a couple years, and I've kind of figured out some of the things I like, some of the things I don't like. One of the best things you can do is find a good location. That's probably the first thing you should worry about, is a good location. I like what I found here. I'm going to show you what I like about it. Right here, I'll back up, kind of zoom out so you can see. There's not a whole lot of big trees. Excuse me, I'm still sick. There's not a whole lot of big trees out here. So we don't have to worry about any widow makers. We got protection from the wind on all four sides. It's clear. That's probably the biggest thing. One of the biggest things is it's very clear. Almost looks like there's never been a camp spot here in the past. I really like this. I can chop wood on that. I can sit on this. So I'm ready. I have something to sit on. I have something to chop on. And I have a place to hold my drink. Nice. So I'm gonna get this bag off. It's overloaded. In fact, part of my bag ripped. One joy, it's like, yeah, anyways, bag ripped. So I'm gonna get this off and I'm gonna show you what I think is important. We gotta clear some of these leaves out. We don't want these leaves here. We definitely want a good spot that we can not have anything puncture our sleeping pad, you know, just whatever. So I'm gonna put a time lapse on. I'm gonna get a spot cleared out. Okay, I'd say step 1 and 2 are complete. Step 1 was find our location. Step 2 was clear if needed, which we did. It's gonna be a lot more comfortable now. So step 3 is get the tent set up. So let's get that done now. These teepee style tents are probably one of the harder tents to kind of get set up. They're just a bit more complicated and a couple more steps. In particular, this is a Pomoly Hussar. I in no way endorse or am trying to sell Pomoly. It just so happens to be, when I was doing my research, that is the brand I decided on. My opinions are a little iffy on it. I don't really see what's so amazing about the tent. I mean, it's nice, but with that said, there's a lot of other different types of hot tents out there. Tons of manufacturers. I would suggest buying a cheap one to start, see what you like and don't like about it, and once you figure some things out, maybe spend a little bit more money and get something you really know you want. I've used this tent for about 3 years now. This might be its last hot tenting season. There's just tons of holes in it at this point. I patched them, but they just keep coming no matter what. So it's starting to look like Swiss cheese. The first thing you got to do, at least with this tent, is you probably want to get 3 to 4 stakes in. Literally on any of these points, just put 3 to 4 stakes in. Put one on this corner, the opposite corner, and then kind of the opposite of those corners. So I'm gonna get 4 stakes in. and then I'll show you what we do next. I just finished getting 4 stakes in, and as you probably noticed in the video, I shoved those stakes in with my hand. You wouldn't be able to do that if the ground was frozen. The ground's just not frozen yet. If it was frozen, you'd have to use something like this to pound them in, or a wooden bat or something. Or if it's snow, you'd have to use snow stakes. These are pretty cheap stakes that came with the tent. There's really nothing special about them other than they're lightweight, but they're not that strong. And tonight it's gonna get to a low of 15 degrees Fahrenheit, which might be about -9 Celsius, somewhere in there. So it's gonna get pretty chilly, and we hope that these don't freeze into the ground. Otherwise, they're a lot of fun to remove. I'll show you what we do next. We're gonna get this tent pole up. So we're actually gonna raise this tent now. I think this is a pretty good demonstration right here as to what can happen. So the tent is technically raised, but it's very cockeyed. It's too tight. We made this a little too tight. So we're just gonna take that one stake out. Oops, I gotta let that fall. We're just gonna readjust it. Okay, now it should work. The tent is at least standing now. I'll show you. It's standing. It looks pretty good. Don't get used to the idea of you're only gonna have to put those stakes in once. You're gonna have to readjust them many times until it's right. It's just the way it goes. There is no getting it exactly right the first time. So I already readjusted them. That's why it's kind of better now. Now I'm gonna get more stakes in. I'm just gonna keep readjusting it as I go. I'm going into a little bit more information than I normally do on my videos on this staking process in particular here, because this is an often overlooked process, and I think it's what causes most of the problems with a new camper. First of all, I want to show you this. I can take this out, and notice I can come back and I could really get a couple more inches there. Don't do that. When you put it in, just have it be a little bit snug. It doesn't have to be tight. It's got the tensioners there. You don't need it to be tight at this point. You don't want it to be tight because you're gonna have to readjust it anyway. I'm gonna show you why. There's 12 stakeout points here. And as I've continued staking it out, I realized, oh, well, that's not straight. I should probably take this one out and put it more like this. Now that's straight. You see that tensioner? There we go. That's just snug. It's not that tight. You kind of look at that. That one looks all right. That one looks all right. This one we can tell. That one looks all right too. This one we could tell. That's like that one got a little loose. So we're gonna take that out. We're just gonna get it a little bit tighter. Actually, the rest of these look pretty good. So we're actually gonna use the built-in tensioners now to kind of get this tight. But before we do, we're gonna adjust the center pole too again. We want that to be pretty straight. That looks straighter. All right, tent's coming together. It's really interesting just how many little nuances there are to staking out one of these pyramid tents. I'll show you something else I've learned. There is zero need, as far as I'm aware, to have these go out much further than that, the other stake. I do that. I make it short on purpose because, one, again, I don't see any real difference between it being staked shorter of the tent or further away from the tent, especially when it's got a tensioner on it anyway. And two, because I can't tell you how many times I've tripped on those at night needing to get something from the outside the tent. And one time it actually ended up in disaster because it brought the whole chimney stack down, and it landed outside the tent in the middle of the night. That was fun. But with that being said, we're done taking out this tent. These tents do come with an inner mesh to keep some of the bugs out. I actually don't need it, and it wouldn't bother me if I didn't have it, but I want to get some practice setting it up, see if there's anything wrong with it from last year, and kind of reorient myself with my gear. So I'm gonna get that set up too. At this point, the shelter is complete. I think it takes a long time to set up these shelters, and it makes it pretty exhausting for doing overnighters in. But if you get out early enough, I think the time spent is worth it. The shelter is completely set up. We're gonna get our hot tent, or our, wood burning stove set up next. There's a lot of different types of wood burning stoves out there. Mind-boggling amount. But if you like to do the type of camping I do, you need to get about a 4 to 5 pound titanium backpacking stove. These stoves are finicky, they're not ideal, but they'll get you through the night and it'll keep you as warm as they can. A lot of your warmth is going to depend on how much work you put in. If you didn't put in any of the work chopping your wood and prepping it, you're going to have a tough time. I mean, this just packs down just like this. It's deformed over time from the fires I've had in it, but you basically kind of, there it goes. You just open it up, bam, 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 bam. And it's got these clips on the side. You see here? You just like that. Do this side. Those are clipped. See, this doesn't come down now. Do the other side. The other side's sometimes a little bit harder. It's getting tighter. I got that one. Okay, we got all 4. Let's get the legs out. All right, now we put the top on. This is a Pomoly wood burning stove. Again, I know I have the Pomoly tent, the Pomoly wood burning stove. In 2020, when I really started researching this stuff, this is just what I landed on. I'm not sure what the market looks like now. If you like it, do your research before buying one. That's all I can really say. This is what it looks like when it's done. So we're gonna move on to the chimney pipe next. Here's the chimney pipe. You can see, packs pretty easy. Be careful with these rings. They fall off and they're easy to lose, and they're not cheap either. I'll show you how to set this up. I pretty much just stopped recording. I was struggling to get any of the rings on because we're already low on time. I got this up. Let's get it in the tent. It's getting later in the day. The sunset, you might be able to make it out. You can see it in the distance there. It's 4:30. We're hustling. It's time to get firewood started. I got a bigger saw today to help with this task. Excuse me. To speed things up. I'm gonna bust it out and we're gonna get sawing. I believe this saw is called the Boreal 21. It's a 21-inch blade. And this thing is what I would use for winter camping. There's really no beating it. It's easy to use. In seconds, it's ready. So we can chop some bigger stuff up with this. Let's get sawing. I couldn't record all the sawing because we're running low on time, but I'm ready to chop up some wood. As you can see, folks, it is definitely sunset. We've probably got 20 minutes of daylight left. It's 5:06, sunset's already passed, so we're in twilight hours, which means we're gonna use every ounce of time we have available to keep getting more wood as much as possible. And I'm probably even gonna work into the darkness a bit, so it's probably gonna be pitch dark by the time I actually get in that tent for the night. It's actually been a long time at all since I've seen a sunset while camping. Believe it or not, it really has. Like, it just haven't happened in a while. This isn't a 10 out of 10 or anything, but it is nice to look at. The color is gonna be gone in minutes. All right, guys, I'm in the hot tent now. I am ready to kind of lay down. It's 5:29, it's 29 degrees out with wind, feels more like 20. It's going to dip to, it says 17 as a low. Around 8 a.m. this morning, it will reach 17. So I'm gonna start this fire up and let's get cozy. I like to use these dirt cubes. I find them to be very useful for starting these up. Some people might laugh at you a little bit for using those types of things, but in the winter I really don't mess around with getting these fires started because it can get a little dangerous. So I'm not gonna mess with it. I don't need to prove I can start a fire using twigs. So let's go ahead, use that dirt cube, spark it up with the ferro rod, and get warm in here because it's 29 degrees, it's below freezing, and I'm really hungry. I haven't eaten all day, so I'm actually really hungry. Let's get going. All right, now that it's finally warmed up a little bit in here, it took about 20 minutes to kind of really get this stove going. I'm going to get organized. I'm gonna get all my gear inside this mesh behind me. That's where I'm gonna be sleeping. I'm gonna get more comfortable now. It's finally, the temperature has risen in here, which was nice because I was starting to get a little cold. So gonna get organized and then we're gonna get cooking because I'm starving, literally starving. So we got some good stuff tonight. Good stuff. I'm excited to get it on the stove here. Our situation is improving. I brought this stump in here and I've been batoning wood and splitting it because my axe was a little bit too big for a lot of those pieces I was trying to split, but luckily I brought my camping knife. So I've split wood and I've got a lot of it I can split. It's gonna burn super fast in this stove and really efficiently. So I'm gonna have very, very consistent heat all night. So I think it's time we get cooking. Forgot I had this, another pink lady apple. This will be a nice snack because I'm pretty thirsty. I haven't had anything to drink since I've started out here. Wow, you can see that chimney. That thing is hot. Boiling some water. I'm gonna make some hot cocoa too. Look how hot that is. Woo, that's putting out some heat. We're gonna try a new flavor here. I've never had this one. It's hazelnut and chocolate cocoa mix from Land O'Lakes. These are a little bit, these things are a little bit pricey. They're like $1.25 a piece now. So it is definitely a little bit of a treat. I'm outside the tent right now. I wanted to see what it looked like, and it's just pitch black out here. There's nothing. I mean, geez, you'd walk right into this dang tent. It's really dark. Super dark. It is 7:33 p.m. It's 26 degrees out, and I just finished cooking up some sirloin tip steak. First time eating it. Oh, that is so good. I'm gonna dig into this. Hey, what's up, guys? It's 8:22, so we're getting into the night. We're working our way through. It's 25 degrees outside, and I have finished my steak. It was delicious, absolutely delicious. It was so good. But I got a little bit hungry as the night went on. I thought to myself, you know what would be good? Some Knorr cheddar broccoli. So I got some water and milk boiling up in a pan here. And after that starts boiling, I'm gonna add the Knorr dinner, and we're gonna stir it up, wait 7-10 minutes, and we're gonna chow down on some more food. In the meantime, I'm just honestly just hanging out in here listening to a podcast. There's not really anything to do. I don't typically listen to music and entertainment while I camp, but hot tenting's a little bit different because you're just kind of hanging out. And it's very dark in here, but it is warm and nice. So we're just gonna hang out, listen to a podcast, and cook up some more food. This cold sucks, by the way. Kind of been hacking up and spitting stuff on the ground, but other than that, I think I'm okay. Time's 8:30. Nights are getting a little longer out here for sure. There's no doubt about that. I'm gonna dig in, enjoy this cheddar broccoli, and continue listening to my podcast, but I'm not gonna lie, there is not a whole lot going on out here. What's up, guys? It's 9:20 in the PM. It's 23 degrees or -5 Celsius, but there is a wind chill factor. So with the wind chill, it feels like about 5 degrees right now Fahrenheit, which would probably be -10 Celsius. I'm not sure on that one though, but it's getting chilly. It's definitely got some cold spots around this tent. Even though we do have a great and consistent fire, it's still fairly chilly in here. It's never gonna be that comfortable. Not like you'll be sitting in your home or anything, but comfortable enough. I mean, really comfortable enough for sure. I feel pretty fine. So I'm just relaxing. It's getting a little late. These nights are pretty long out in these hot tents. There's not always a whole lot to do other than relax and just kind of enjoy being outside. So that's what I'm gonna continue doing. And if anything changes, I will update you guys. I'll catch y'all in a few. You know what time I think it is, guys? I think it's time for a little chocolate supreme. It's about 10 o'clock. It's continuing to dip down. It's about 22 Fahrenheit. So we're gonna make some hot cocoa and probably thinking about laying down here in a few and getting some rest. Wake up early because we're gonna do some more camping tomorrow, but I still got plenty of firewood in here, like a ton. So we're definitely gonna have a pretty warm morning, which will be amazing. I'm looking forward to that. Cheers, folks. That's some good chocolate supreme. It's been pretty boring in here. Not a whole lot going on. It's pretty chilly. If that stove went out, it'd get cold in a hurry, like really, really fast in here. But as long as that stove going, we're staying comfortable. It's about 10:30. I'm getting kind of tired, so I'll be thinking about calling it here pretty soon. I got a bit of a cold, so I don't feel that great. Trying to take it easy and just don't have a whole lot of energy, so I'll update you guys here in a few. All right, guys, it is that time. It's well past 11, almost midnight. It's about 20 degrees, and I'm tired. My GoPro batteries keep dying. Ooh, owl. And I am tired. It's time to go to bed. It's almost midnight, so I'm gonna crash. Good morning, guys. Time 7:30. Had to make sure to get up early today because we got a lot to do. We got to pack up and go find somewhere new to camp. Let's get that fire started, get some heat in here, get some food and coffee going. I'm sitting on this tree stump right now trying to get warm in front of the stove. It's 17 degrees outside. You know, it's my first time really being exposed to this type of cold. So pretty chilly, trying to get warm. Gonna throw on some pants, change my clothes a little bit and get on my proper outdoor clothes so I can really start thinking about getting ready here. Get a coffee on and keep throwing some more wood in this stove so I can keep this heat going. Coffee and oatmeal. I really like this stuff. It's got 290 calories and it's a little bit more than just oatmeal. It's really close to being a full breakfast. Good energy for the day. Well, just finished up my oatmeal, working on my coffee right here. And when that's over, I think we're gonna pack up and get ready for the next camp, which is gonna be today, because I'm gonna go on camp again tonight. Have a couple days off for work, which is kind of rare. So I don't really want to squander it and sit at home and do nothing. And this is free for the most part for me to go do and have some fun. So, and you get some fresh air while you're at it and get to enjoy the beautiful sun. It has turned out to be a wonderful day, even though it's only like 20 degrees outside. But we're gonna get going, get packed up here soon, and I'll update y'all here in a few. Okay, I'm kitted up. I mean, there's some gear laying out, but a lot of the bags packed. And believe it or not, this stove and tent is pretty easy to pack up. A little piece of advice, at least in my opinion: pack your bag in a way that you can store all your sleep stuff in one spot, that you can pack first thing in the morning while it's still warm in this tent. That way you don't have to pack it up in the cold. So I already packed up all my sleeping stuff and it's already in the bag. And then make sure you load out your gear in a way that at the very end is the last, you put the stove and the tent in last. We're a couple of nicks and knacks. It's not a huge deal. Just try to make it easy on yourself, you know what I mean? Just think about how you want to pack that bag. You know, when you unpack and then repack, and then you got to think about when it's freezing out, you know, you don't want to be sitting there in the cold, you know, trying to get everything to fit and it won't fit. So it just saves you a little bit of time and headache in the long run. But I'm letting this stove die out. I'm basically just waiting for it to kind of cool down just a little bit more, and then I'm gonna pack it up. Been a little lax on some of the filming out here just because I need to save some of my batteries for tonight for the next camping trip. But see, I got a little bit of a fire here. I'll have to fix that. Get this all packed up, pretty much anyway. This is all stuff I'm not gonna bring on the next trip. I don't think I need that axe. I might bring the axe, we'll see. Definitely gonna bring the saw though. That's garbage. Mix and axe. Yeah, we're almost out of here. I look a little ridiculous. I got this saw hanging off of me. I'm carrying this axe and bag, and got a bunch of bottles strapped to my waist. But we didn't hike far in today because I came in late. I didn't have time for it. It's like 10:30 right now, so we're already packed, ready to go, and we're ready to get to some exploring. So we're gonna do a little bit more today. And our exit. Interesting. It's frosty out, only 17 degrees. Oh, there's a sports car. Only 17 degrees. And I was literally just woke up 3 minutes ago this time yesterday. It's 10:34. I woke up at 10:30 yesterday. It took me about 2-3 hours to pack for these types of trips. I don't know, it just takes forever. It takes forever. So Got them out earlier now. I don't need to really stop for much. I already got everything I need for another night. Bought food for 2 days, or 2 nights I should say. 3 days probably, but no protein on the third day. We're off to get an energy drink and then we're gonna continue our camping.